right, thanks for downloading the template. I'm going to take you through how to customize it and some of the layers and what they do so that you can tweak it to make it fit your needs. So I'm actually going to replace what the silhouettes are in here with the actual photos this time, but I'll have to change out the colors and show you what you can do and how you can tweak it. So first thing we'll do is we're going to go get to the last name, double click the smart object, which is this right here, and that will open this up. And then what I always like to do is I do like to copy in the name directly, just so as you're doing it, you make sure that you spell everything correctly. Paste that in. Sometimes it does that. I'm not sure why that does that, but if it does it to you, just make sure you just click out of it and submit it. I also have the grid lines on there, so if you hit Command semicolon, these grid lines kind of will line you up where you should be. So if you had a longer name, so say there's some extra letters on here and it went over this limit, so like say it was that, this would be too big because it goes past those lines to fit on the front. So then you could shrink it down so it fits in there. But then you want to make sure you just always line this back up on that line because that's going to be the seam. But let's change that back to how it is. We'll hit Command S to save, and that'll update the smart object. And what that does is that's going to angle it like this. So that's there. Then we need to update this back right here. So if you click on back, double click the smart object, that opens this up. And so I'm going to paste in, copy and paste in the full name. So copy, and then I'm going to go here to name, paste it, and then team name, be small, and submit that, and then we'll change the color of this, and over here in the in your character panel, the properties panel, you can change that. And here's a little tip: is if you need to know the exact color, just drag in your team if you have a logo, and you can pull the color from it. So I'm going to do that real quick. Pull that in, and then if you hit I and bring up the eyedropper, and then you can see it down over here on the left is your color. So I'll turn that off. So I'll select these back, select the color over here in your properties panel, and you can just eyedrop that. And then you have the purple. And then we are going to need the yellow for this number. So I click on that, turn that back off. And then for the number, we'll change the color to the yellow. And then we're going to change his number, 23. And if you're doing a sport without a number, or you just don't want to use the number, I have this logo right here so that you can change out that smart object, and then it has all the drop shadow on it. Or you can just drag it in if you don't want the drop shadow, but we're going to go with the number here. All right, so then this is a smart object inside a smart object to get this back image. So we're going to double click on the smart object to open this up. And we're going to bring in the back photo. And we're going to scale it up. That's pretty close. Accept that. Delete that out. And then I do have grid lines on this to help me out where kind of like the middle is. But a lot of times you're going to have to just kind of, based on the pose, center it on how you want it. So that looks pretty good. Command S saves this smart object. And then we'll close out of that. And then I put a hue saturation on above this back image because a lot of the times I will do things where I desaturate everything except for maybe the school color, which works great if you're doing teams with colors that are not skin tones. So oranges and yellows and reds, they don't isolate great without you having to manually do it. But you can sometimes on them, if you have a green or blue, you can do a quick pass and it gives you this kind of cool look. But for this one, I'm going to keep that off. And I'm going to hit Command S to save this smart object. And once that's complete, we'll close out of this. And then you see it's updated back here. And it's important that that's in a smart object because we have the reflection here, which if you do not like the reflection, you can turn that off. It's back copy down here. You can see with it off and with it on. And I am going to leave it on. And then we are going to go back to the last name, which I forgot to change out the, I'm going to decide I'm going to change out this to the school colors that outlines this. So we'll go back in there to do that. And you're going to hit this drop down menu on by the FX button. If you don't see it, and this has all the effects that are on this text. So if you double click on stroke, it'll open up the stroke. And we are going to do the same trick. If I would have been smart and I would have done it all at once, I would have saved the colors. But I'm going to bring in that color again because I think I want a purple outline for this one. So we'll get that purple again. And then you're going to, where stroke is highlighted, right now the fill type is gradient. You can do patterns. So if you have a pattern saved, I'd use the gold and silver a lot on my patterns. Or you can go back to this gradient. So you'll double click on that or click on that. And then you have the 2 different colors or 3 total colors. It gives it kind of that look. So if you click on this, double click, it opens up this color picker, which we're going to pick the purple. And we're going to hit OK. We want the same one over here. We're going to click the purple. And then in the middle, we want the purple, but we're going to want it a little lighter. So I'm going to select the purple, but then I'm going to open up this. And then I can make it lighter, or you can make it darker to give it that kind of gradient look. So let's go a little lighter like that. You hit OK. And you'll hit OK. And you'll save this, Command S, and then that'll update your smart object over here. I like the tone on tone look. Some people probably want to see their name a little bit better. So you can do that. If you go back to the name, smart object, and you click on gradient overlay, double click it, it opens this back up, and it's the same concept of this gradient. So if you want to lighten it or change that to the school color so it stands out more, you're welcome to do that. But let's go back and let's drop in this front image. So let's click on it to bring it to where we're dropping it in. I'll grab the image, bring it in, and we'll just scale it up to get it close to this one that I had in there. Looks pretty good. I'll accept it. And then I have this smart filter. I just left it on there. It's just got some clarity and onto this. It kind of makes it pop a little bit based off of how you shoot and how you want the end one to look. If you just do it as a smart filter, then the next time you bring an image in, you can just hold down Option and then click and drag it on your photo, and it'll update it. And then you can just delete this one out. And then you kind of have that look, the look you want on each one. Helps you speed up your workflow. And then up here, I have 2, like a light leak and this side light. If you want to change the color, right now this is on a gold, and you kind of see it, and that works good with their purple and gold theme. But if you want to change that, unlock it, because if I have it unlocked, when you move stuff around, you accidentally grab that layer since it's on top. So unlock it, and if you turn on the hue saturation, and you double click that, it opens up this window where you can change it. And since colorize is checked, you can move the color around to what you want it to be. So if you want to just give a subtle look, like if you want this to be like subtle purple over the whole corner, kind of gives it a nice look like that. And obviously you just based on the team colors. But I'm gonna go with the gold. That is how we have it because it just gives it a little warm. So I like that. So I can lock that back. The last thing I'm going to do is add shadows. So right under the grain layer, you can add a shadow. If you've already have your shadow in there, you'll just have to add a new layer. You're gonna get out the brush and add these in. And there you have it. I do also, if you're not dropping them in over top of each other, I do normally put a line on top so that I kind of know that they're all the same size. Also, the font I used on this is called Teko, Teko. So if you like that font, it's a free font, and you can search Google and find a free download of that. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.